Now you're speaking my love language. This is the adult version of Toys R Us, and just as expensive, especially when you gotta get 6 pieces of wood at this cost. Something you'll notice here, it's really hot in Texas, and all of my Japanese maples as I pass them here are just brown. Almost everything's brown. So when I first made this, I cut all the individual pieces and then routed each one of them. And then I learned later, why don't I just route this whole piece and then cut it after? And it saves probably 2 or 3 hours on this whole process of building it. So I redesigned all this because the first one I sold, my friend little Christy picked it up and it fell apart in her hands and fell on the ground. I was devastated because it was the first thing I ever sold. But what I did is I used to wrap the wire around the stone and then glue the wire to the wood. Now I grind the stones down, glue them to these bases, and it holds it so much better. I've tried breaking them. I actually hit it with a hammer one time and it broke the stone in half, but didn't come off the base. So I have preset lines here. One is for this, and I'm drilling about 1/3 to 1/4 of the way back in the middle. This will hold the little lights that I put inside of it. You'll see them here. And then that little rubber grommet keeps water, if you're spraying it, from getting down inside the light. So here I go. I'm just gonna drill, I don't know, maybe 40 of these. And you'll also notice that the piece of wood is like spinning off of it. I need to clamp this down because when you notice right there, when it spins off and hits you in the knuckles, it does not feel good. Now I'm countersinking this in. The little rubber grommet will fit inside of that, and this also keeps me from having a real sharp edge there with pieces of wood on it. It really cleans it up and makes it look pretty nice. And because I buy better wood, all I have to do is sand the sides of these and the corner. I used to have to sand the whole thing, and I would spend, if I was doing 120 of them, probably 2 hours, 3 hours. So in the process of figuring these out and making new prototypes and so forth and so on, I'm able to cut down 4 to 6 hours in the process. So you'll notice there's different types of wood here. Some of them are for some test tube water propagation things I'm making, and these are for the stones. But I'm showing here how if you spray these from every side like this, passing over them 3 times at about a 45-degree angle, carry a piece of paper towel with you because these things like to foam, and shoot little pieces of foam out. That way you can blot the blocks and continuously wipe the tip off of these. Every now and then you need to take the can, turn it upside down, spray it till it comes out clear, and then wipe the tip off, and it seems to make the finish go better. You get less foam spray out of it, which that foam stuff is not fun. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But if you spray all 4 sides, well, look here, when I'm done, I turn it over and I spray till it comes out clear, and then wipe it off and put it in storage. If you do that, your cans will last forever. Well, until the finish runs out anyway. The tips don't get all clogged up. So if I spray all 4 sides of this, like probably 4 or 5 times, you'll end up getting a real durable finish, especially on top, because every time you spray a side, you're actually spraying the top too. Then I spray the top a couple of more times, so they're fairly waterproof and very durable. So here's my rant on spray cans. The finish in them is nice, but you constantly have to wipe the tip off of them. You have to keep them clean. When you're using a gun, you don't have to do that. You can just continuously spray. It also atomizes the finish better. The other thing it does too is these cans are like $12 to $14 a piece. A gallon's like 50, and it gives you 10 times as much lacquer or varnish or polyurethane at a quarter of the cost. Look at what my master did. At the very end, I just do some light sanding on them and then put one more coat on them. That way it knocks all the little nits and anything that kind of sticks to it and makes it real nice, smooth. And here they are finished. Well, they have finish on them. Here I took a block of oak and I drilled through the bottom, put a couple of nails in it, but you got to leave them far enough apart that this wire here fits in between them. If you don't leave that space, you're gonna never get these off when you start spinning it around the nails. So I cut it to the length of the block, which is about 8 inches, and I start about a third of the way down, and I just start pulling it around itself. I'm making yin-yangs, and they're super easy to make. All you got to do is just pull the wire around itself. Then I'll take the wire and kind of straighten it out so it runs a straight line through it. This side I'll just spin back on itself to get a little bit of detail and to make it look a little prettier. You can leave the wire longer here and do another yin-yang on the end of it if you want to. So then I straighten this wire out, and I made these little they're tools from Harbor Freight, and they were really cheap, so I just drilled a hole in it and then I'll pull the wire around it. If you use your thumb to hold it down, it starts it, and then you don't have to hold it anymore. Then the piece that actually goes down inside the hole, I'll pull it out and I'll spin it back on itself, and it gives you a little handle to adjust for the size of the air plants that you're putting on it. And then you just grab both sides of it and kind of pull it tight around it, and then it makes a circle. Bend it back, and then this will adhere to stones, and then the stone will adhere to wood. So this is kind of the behind the scenes thing that most people don't see. They just come up and they see all this stuff, but you've got to spend, I'll probably do 150 to 200 of these for each festival. You know, I don't just make them for this, I make them to adhere to these stones, and I make them for test tubes to fit inside of, and I make them where I wrap them around pieces of driftwood, so there's a lot of spinning wire. These stones I just buy from Amazon. It's like $12 for a pack that's a pound, and it gives me, each one of them gives me about 10, and if you notice here, so that gives me right around 60 of them. But for them to sit flat on the wood, I have to grind the bottom, and then I also kind of grind the sides and the fronts. Instead of wrapping the wire around it, I glue the wire on it. That way I can wrap all the wire individually. I can do everything individually, and then I can assemble it all together. But just with everything else, after this one is done, you gotta do 60 more, so it's time consuming. So as I'm handling the stone, when I first unpackage it, I think about what sizes I have, and then I kind of sort them out, and then I wrap my wire accordingly: big ones, small ones, medium ones. Some of them I do really long, that way I can wrap around the stone like I'm doing here. But you just take super glue, put it on there, and spray a little activator, and it dries. If your fingers get stuck to it, don't try to pull your finger off, rock it back and forth, and that way it'll come off without pulling the wire off. Just sit it on the wood and spray activator, and it's done. So I had a lady in a festival ask me one time, why is it so expensive, and they were $18. I didn't think they were that expensive, and I said, how much would you like to pay? And she said $14. I said, okay. I learned that you can barter with people. I also learned that people don't put the same type of value on my art as I do. You know, that it's okay to value my art. It's okay to sell this stuff and want it to go into people's houses. I want people to enjoy it, but I also need to price it accordingly. I value what I do. I enjoy what I do, but there's a lot that's involved in building these. You know, I want people to be able to put them in their house and enjoy them. I want people to look at them and value them themselves. If I don't put value on it, then I don't think other people will put value on it. You know, this allows me to do what I want to do. Go out and sell stuff, make a little bit extra money, and create stuff all the time. If you like this video, please share, please like, please comment, please subscribe. More will be revealed. Namaste.